Yeah, where you at? Rabbit. Let go. Get ready, you rabbit, come. 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 It doesn't matter what you're going through. Leave your problems around the table. Real talk with real people. I've been this for the run. Get ready, you rabbit, come. Get ready, you rabbit, come. Get ready, you rabbit, come. Get ready, get ready.
Hop, hop. Now, in that order.
Let go. Get ready, you rabbit, come. 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 It doesn't matter what you're going through. Leave your problems around the table. Real talk with real people. I've been this for the run. Get ready, you rabbit, come. Get ready, you rabbit, come. Get ready, you rabbit, come.
Rabbit. Real talk for real people. Well, we are here to administer CPR and to resuscitate the living dead back to life. Thank everybody for tuning in. I thank my guests. Season greetings to everyone. And I want also to know that this is the day that the Lord has made. So we all going to rejoice and be glad in it. And no matter what the enemy plan, his plot, or his strategic move may be, know that no weapon formed against us shall prosper, because we are more than a conqueror in Christ Jesus who come to love us. So everyone, enjoy your day on purpose and unapologetically. Once again, I have my guest tonight, Dr. John Lewis, an ER doctor at the Emory Hospital. He will be here tonight to share his medical views along with me and you. Also, he had the podcast, EM Remix. Look him up on Instagram. He's a phenomenal doctor. He does the most. He's cool. I think he's about one of the coolest doctors I ever met. Now, how I met Dr. Lewis is I went to the hospital like 3 weeks ago, and he was my ER doctor, and he found out that I have a podcast, and he also have, like I said, a show as well called EM Remix. And so we kind of collaborated that together, and then I met some other people. We were going to hook up also, but they're not here, unfortunately, and I do pray that they're okay. But anyways, people, we got a great show for you tonight, and this show is called Taking Back My Life. That's right, Taking Back My Life. What I mean by that is what we have been through in our past, and when we're being so much attacked by the enemy that we didn't have no leeway, no guidance, or no direction. We were just lost. So after overcoming addictions and abuse and neglect and all that, you realize that you wants to be better than who you once were. So you grasp everything back that the enemy tried to take away from you. And tonight, I got my special guest singer here tonight, Leeway. Yes, he's here. He will bring you some good old Christmas sounds and some rhythm and blues. That's right, Leeway is in the house. Also, Miss Mo Love, the ATTRWR original. She will be zooming in a little bit. So people get ready for an exciting show coming up to you next. And now we must take this commercial break, and we'll be right back with you.
Yeah, where you at? Rabbit. Let go. Get ready, you rabbit, come. 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 It doesn't matter what you're going through. Leave your
in that order.
That's right, people. Get ready, because he's going to come once again with another exciting episode of Around the Table with Rabbit. Real talk for real people, just like you and me. So, people, get ready, get ready, get ready. Coming your way, December the 23rd, 8 o'clock p.m. Don't miss me. I will see you there. With very special guest, Miss Sherry Warren, all the way from Pensacola, Florida. She is a recovering addict. Also, she is a worldwide advocate for people who are addicted to drugs and people that are homeless. She will bring with her her amazing team, people that have overcome their obstacles in life from the abuse of drugs. Also, get ready for some soulful sounds by the one and only ATTWR original, Miss Mo Love. She will be there. She will be jamming her music. Also, people, yes, we got Dr. John Lewis. He will be out there also. He's an ER doctor from the Emory Hospital. He gonna come there. He got some medical views about the addiction as well. Ready, get ready, because it's gonna be epic and it's gonna be dope in that order. Once again, welcome to Around the Table with Rabbit. Real talk for real people, just like you and I. Yes, today we have a great show with my special guest, Dr. John Edward Lewis, Emory Hospital ER doctor. Also, he has a podcast called EM Remix. You can find Dr. Lewis on Instagram, EM Remix. So hello to everybody. Once again, welcome to a great show tonight. And tonight my show is called Taking Back My Life. So what do I mean by taking back my life? All that was ripped and stripped away from me, all that I let go because of not being focused on life and who I am and my worth. And so the enemy came in and I allowed him to take things back. So once I become to get rehabilitated and to seek and find myself and to begin to know my worth, everything that the enemy taking, I want it back. And trusting in God, persevering and believing in this word, that his word will never come back void. He said he's a God that doesn't lie. So I had to trust him in order for my steps to be ordered by him and for the renewing of my mind. And tonight I got Dr. John Lewis here on set. We welcome John Lewis to Around the Table with Rabbit.
How are you doing, brother?
I am doing absolutely marvelous. After a little setback of sickness, I'm doing great. You know, you saw me in the ER at the hospital about 3 weeks ago, approximately.
Right, that was about it. Time flies, but yeah, you look like the new improved version, not the same person I met that time. So you're looking good.
Well, you know, there's a saying: I don't look like what I've been through.
Still that.
In that
I'm
order.
gonna have to steal that one.
But I found you to be an amazing man, an amazing doctor, as well as a friend and a confidant, I believe so. You gave good professionalism doing my care there, and you did what you could do, even though they want to feed me, and put it off on you because I was going to step on your gallbladder. Yeah, so everybody, Dr. Lewis, he has a podcast. And would you like to tell them about your podcast, Dr. Lewis? And give them,
sure.
First, give them a little bit about yourself.
Okay, then as you've already done, I won't spend a whole lot of time. My name is John Lewis. I am an emergency physician and assistant professor of emergency medicine at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. I hail from the great state of Virginia. I've been living in Atlanta for the last 5 years now, and previously called Atlanta my home as a graduate of Morehouse College class of 1993. That being said and done, I came back to the red clay hills of Georgia to set right what I had seen that was still wrong for so many years, and it was health inequity. Basically saying that I realized the type of health that people were receiving here was not like the health that I had seen being given and administered in so many other places. And I thought that it would be only a further tragedy to know better and not do better. So I came down with the mission that we would create first a conversation where we are speaking the same language of equity, which means that everyone gets what they need in order to succeed. And that means health outcomes where you talk about health, whether you have diabetes, whether you have heart disease, no matter what your ailment, your outcomes should look exactly like or as close as possible as your fellow woman and man regardless of your stature in life, your complexion of your skin, or whatever demographic or intersection that you find yourself existing on. So we started it with a conversation called Emergency Medicine Remix. We are remixing, or in other words, restating or changing the formula of what it means to be healthy and what a true emergency is, because we believe the new emergency in the 21st century is health inequity. That is the new civil rights movement. So that's just a little snapshot of what I came down to do and what our platform is based on.
Well, it don't sound like a little snapshot. That sounds like a lot. and you speak as though you got much more go along with behind that. But anyway,
just a little bit.
Just okay, just a tidbit. Okay, Dr. Lewis, I want to ask you at a young age, you know, when we get to where we decide we want to be this or to be that, and with so many options to become an engineer, a doctor, talk show host per se, what made you or inspired you to become who you are?
Yeah, so that's a powerful statement. The scripture says, "As a man thinketh, so he is." So you have to, yep. So you have to first conceptualize it. So when I was a kid, my parents were really good stewards of my learning. They made sure there was something that I was interested in. They threw books at me. They took me to museums. They exposed me as much as possible. So I got exposed to a whole lot of science. My folks wouldn't let me watch cartoons, but so much I could watch them. My dad's like, "Look, you gotta, learn something." So with that being said and done, I saw a whole lot of things, from scientists to physicists to astronauts, and they all piqued my interest. And this went on for years, going to various museums in DC. And ultimately, I also watched my parents being public servants in social services and in the church and beyond, and housing and health and human services. I would say that, unbeknownst to me, I was catching more than I ever knew would influence my life to this day. So when I put it all together, when it came to being a high school student, I was like, what can I do that will allow me to use science and help my fellow, man and woman, in the same way my parents had done for so many years? And medicine just kind of fell into my lap. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's the calling right there. It allows you to even accidentally serve others with science. And in doing so, I decided, hey, I like biology. I can thrive in this aspect. I can also make sure that everything I've learned can be magnified in a way that helps people in their most fundamental ways, and that's their health. Mm-hmm. So that is what got me on the path of wanting to be a physician. It wasn't a thing that I always grew up wanting to be a physician. I wanted to be a whole lot of things that I mentioned to you, but the idea that I could use science to better myself and better those in my community around me was all encapsulated in a career in medicine.
Okay. I tell you what, and that is a good story, Dr. Lewis, because, a lot of kids, when they be growing up, they don't know what they want to be, and then some just don't decide either or. They hit the streets and become drug dealers, robbers, murderers, thieves, however. But in the case such as yourself and myself, now, we both kind of day and light here, because I'm sure you was raised up very well, which your mother and father did what the Bible said in Proverbs: raise your child in the way that you will have them to go, and they will not stray from you. And that was a commandment from God. So they was obedient to that word, and now what did they do? And look who they produce into this world. We have somebody that care for others other than just caring for themselves. Because because when you come into the medical field, I know a lot of people get into it just for the money, for the pay, and don't have the compassion for it. But when you have the compassion for it, you will exemplify more of yourself and your concern and your love about your fellow person, as you said earlier, about treating your neighbors as want to be treated earlier. And then with that being said, Dr. Lewis, I almost call you Dr. Hawley in my head. Dr. Lewis, with that being said, I appreciate you for being who you are. Again, you helped me get better.
Well, brother, I'm going to tell you this. We are at any point in time provider, healer, and patient. Anytime. It's not if you are those things, it's just when are you those things. Sometimes we're those things simultaneously. You will see sometimes the sick taking care of other sick because they have no one else to take care of
for them. Mm-hmm.
So when I walk into a room and I engage with a patient, one of the first things I realize is that we are co-equals. They are the physician in the room. They are the physician who has the most power to affect change in their own self. And when you and I first met, I said, "Hey, brother, tell me about yourself. You were the expert on you. I just met you.
That's
I
why
know a handful of things from a book, but you've been living you all your life. So when you go into the art of healing, or at least when we walk this journey I like to call health,
right,
we must realize that any point in time, there may be somebody else leading us in that. We may be required to follow them, no matter what your training or your specialty or your condition may be. When we do that, there's almost a automatic guarantee that your finish line will be further than had you taken that journey alone. When you walk into it and you say, hey, where do you want to go? This is where I want to go. Hey, brother, do you know the road? I know a little bit of this. This is why I know a little bit of this. The two are together, walking in agreement. Then you come to a place that's healing, and you come to a place like I like to say called equity. Right. So that is where you and I met on the road, and that's where this conversation is made. We're going to bring people on this short journey in this conversation on the table to realize that all of us have essential roles to play when it comes to health and equity.
Correct, and I agree with you. And yes, it is a journey, and this is a journey that don't stop. The only way it can be stopped unless you stop it or God take you off this earth. And becoming a healthcare provider, I think it is one of the most amazing fields to educate yourself in. Because
you're speaking from experience.
That's right. Because I'm in it for the love of it, not just for the dollar bill, so to speak. So, and that passion goes across the universe. It's called sick people.
It does.
There are sick people everywhere. All of us suffer the same. Some suffer different, however the case may be. But because you have a compassion for this, your job is to make sure you find out what is physically, mentally, or whatever going on with that body, so that you can repair that and put that person back on their journey to success. Right. But anyway,
and learn from their journey too.
Most definitely.
At some point in time, there's going to be a landmark on their journey. If I'm sitting patiently and listening and looking at their life, then I'll recognize in my life it's going to speak to something that is on my pathway.
Right.
So yeah, that is the way we should do it. That's the journey of healing.
And that's also being an example, like you just said. Someone might see you at whatever you may be doing at that time to assist, to help, or to give whatever advice. It all works together and it collaborates, and we can see ourselves moving forward, that we have helped somebody else to better understand by our act. If you agree with that.
Now, yeah. You're cooking with fire now, so you keep on. I ain't gonna mess up the recipe. You keep cooking.
Okay. Hey, don't forget, I told you I'm from Mississippi. I'm a country boy now. Check out my page. You'll see me whipping it up. Let it whip in that order. But Dr. Lewis, you also have a podcast called EM Remix. Can you tell my guests about that and why you come up with that again? You briefly said something about it earlier.
Yeah, sure. So the definition of an emergency, it is something that is often thrown about haphazardly. We have built whole departments and whole centers based on that term emergency. However, there is an objective meaning to emergency. Emergency truly means a condition or a state that requires immediate attention or action with a consequence of deterioration or possibly death if it's not started within that foreseeable, time or moment. Well, the way that medicine and healthcare has evolved over the years, emergency medicine per se has become not a defined specialty where we're looking to intervene in the nick of time, as I just defined, but we're looking to create a business model, very much like the fast food industry, where we get people in and out within so much time and charge them too much for too little, with the idea that this builds revenue and profit, not the public health initiative that it was set up to be, to catch people when they have done all they could do and there is nothing left but the safety net below them to catch them. So we said we got to flip that. We got to redefine what an emergency is, and we realized that most of the things that my colleagues and I, the University of Pennsylvania, and here in Emory, and some places, other academic emergency departments in the United States, we said we have to really, really educate our colleagues and the people we serve on what the true emergencies are, because the stuff we were seeing weren't emergencies. They were based on fear. They were based on a ignorance that was actually predatory. We kept people in the dark. Healthcare wanted people to come in when they were afraid and not knowing what to do, instead of informing them that, hey, this is okay, this is normal. You don't have to come in and go bankrupt because of your fears for something that really didn't require any kind of intervention, something that grandma maybe 2 generations ago would have known what to do with. Right. So we said, let's open up this conversation, talk about what an emergency is. And the mantra we said was that majority of the stuff that we were seeing was preventable. Mm-hmm. Majority of the stuff, 80% of the stuff we see coming into the emergency department aren't emergency, they're preventable. So if you saw somebody on this road that was 5 miles long and you knew the bridge was out at the end of that road, mm-hmm. they could turn off at any given time and avoid going off the cliff. Right. But what we do is, I got a little business that scraps cars on the other side of that bridge that went out. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with you going over that bridge because it feeds into my bottom line of scrapping cars. When you go over there, I got a whole bunch of them sitting at the bottom of that that bridge. That in itself is heinous. It's reprehensible. How dare you commoditize, profitize things that are preventable and call yourself caring? Caring.
That's right. That's right. Again, the money and the compassion for it, see?
Right. How dare you call that an emergency when it was foreseeable for so long? How dare you call it an emergency when you set up cottage industries around it to actually feed people to that road in mm-hmm. order to drive the profit margin? So we said, in our words, there were a lot of things that are happening in our communities that people weren't aware of that were the true emergency. In 2019, we got together and we started this podcast, and the moniker was that there's an emergency in our communities, and it's probably not what you think. Either way, we've got the medicine. Right. And the medicine in that case was education. It was health literacy. People would do better if they knew better.
Correct.
You shouldn't charge people for the information to do better.
I agree
so
with you.
If you knew that diabetes was preventable and type 2 diabetes is even curable, majority of people were like, oh, shoot, why would I want my foot cut off? Why would I want to be on dialysis? These are preventable things. It's an emergency if you know that you can prevent it. So you see I'm going to call names out. I'll keep them there. Certain centers in our corners, and they're sitting right beside these fast food joints that flood our communities, mm-hmm. these liquor stores, tobacco stores that flood communities. You realize that they have created a trap.
A trap. I agree with you 100%. A trap. On every corner, in every neighborhood, basically. In every neighborhood.
It's not just the dope man. It's not just, the man, whipping up over the counter. It is the guy flipping burgers, dropping the fries in there because they have put those things at higher concentrations in our communities. And what do they lead to? They lead to diabetes, heart disease, cancers, that we later, when that broken body comes into the emergency department and the hospital, we then extract an ungodly amount of money that people don't have to make money off of their disease state. That isn't an emergency. That is a public health crisis. So we are remixing what it means. That's the emergency we need to talk about now. So I'm gonna talk about this. So health equity is this idea that you and I come in with the same needs, but I have a slightly different need. And let's say it's a bicycle. This is what you can see at cdc.gov and a lot of other governmental agencies that put up this graphic. When you come in and say, well, I need a bicycle too. Another person says, I need a bicycle. Well, I'm 6'7". Uh-huh. My bicycle is going to have to look different than your bicycle.
That's right.
But the person beside me is actually 5'2" and wheelchair bound. That does not mean they don't deserve a bicycle. No, they have hand bikes. So they need a bicycle specific to them to get them where they're going. Another person's 5'1". That's what health equity is. So if you are living in a community, it looks a little bit different than somebody else's community, we need to enact the type of things that they need in their community. So diabetes or that need for a bicycle doesn't look the same as it does in another community. Let's say it this way simply. When you live in a place where it is you're not able to get low calorie, high nutrition foods, you eat what's next to you.
What is next to yeah. And that's what most people do.
Right. We need to create a policy, an environment, a movement, a bunch of stakeholders saying, hey, look, I know y'all talking about bringing X to the community to make jobs, but that doesn't make the right type of jobs we're looking for. We need you to bring Y into our community to do jobs. I was just said,
correct. I agree with you 100.
I was just saying, like Slutty Vegan and Tasley, they're like, you will have you to believe that healthy food doesn't thrive in our community. It does. But you got to put it there. You got to set policy in the same tax breaks you put in wealthy communities for these other places to come in and thrive that benefit people not only financially, but physically and mentally.
And it's very imperative that we tell people the risk of these type of bacon, grease, all that type of stuff that clogs you up, your arteries. And I feel as being a healthcare provider or just a concerned neighbor might not do it, might just eat healthy themselves, and they see their fellow neighbor eating something that could cause a stroke or whatever, a heart attack. They should educate them on that and say, look, this is what I take and this is my routine of this is my routine of that. I have this for breakfast, I have this for lunch, and this is my supper. And I don't have to deal with anything. I don't have high blood pressure, diabetes, none of that. And some people you have to convince that, doc. You have to really convince them.
So that's what we open the table. So this conversation, we go through, we take hip hop. So any change that you see in our community has always been choreographed or curated by the arts. So let's go back. Prior to 1865, the abolitionist movement was choreographed to the Negro spiritual. And you had Quakers and white abolitionists who would take young African boys and girls around the country to various Methodist churches to raise money for the abolition movement. That was the song, The Wade in the Water. All of these songs that were songs that we were singing in the fields that people didn't realize that they were these, sometimes not sympathetic white slave owners loved the music, not realizing they were ingesting the message. They were eating the medicine of freedom. Circa 1865, that message had reached a groundswell where you actually had people willing to fight on our behalf alongside us for that freedom. Let's fast forward to the 1920s, where we were separate but unequal. We weren't seen as kings and queens and brilliant, scholars as we were. But in Harlem, we proved that we were. While we were singing and dancing and showing our artistic talents, and the like of Josephine Baker, Langston Hughes, jazz was choreographing it through the Cotton Club all throughout that time.
Yeah, back
where
in the
people
day.
were now calling
yes.
the
And they had little wooden floors, wooden floors, something like Color Purple. When Oprah had
right. And you saw them coming to our communities to sing and dance, once again, taking the medicine that was sweetened by jazz the whole time. That, we were just as talented. Right. We were just as smart. And you get the likes of Langston Hughes and W.B. Du Bois now going to Harvard, the first African-American to graduate from Harvard. We're like, okay, because they have been ingesting the music, tasting that sweet fruit. 1960, Civil Rights Movement. You got kids
come on, give me some education here, some good history.
Yeah, we got kids from the 1960s now singing I'm Black and I'm Proud, and they don't look like us, but they're standing with us, looking like this. So they march alongside of us, and they stand for our freedom, for our right to vote, to go to school, and do all the things that they had to do, because they've been dancing to our songs the whole time. With the likes of James Brown and the likes of Sam Cooke. A change is going to come. You fast forward that now to the 1980s, and this new thing called hip-hop comes, and now we become knowledge of self, and we realize that we are more than just a slave story, that our stories go way back to the motherland, of the continent of Africa. And we then begin to inherit all of the royalty and potential that all of these former kingdoms had. Oh, man, we were architects of civilizations. We didn't just build your country. We built part of this world. We set that same mechanism by which hip hop changed. White kids now singing our revolutionary songs. We could do that to sing the song of freedom and health equity, and we call that emergency medicine remix. So we put it on the podcast. We flip album covers. We take Jay-Z songs and we make them in a health soundtrack. And if you look at our website, you'll say, "Oh, I remember that song," and we will flip it to where. Yeah,
and then sometimes when we hear songs like that, and we got the younger version of us, even some might be in their 20s, whatnot, and the song come up, you don't know nothing about that. What you know about that? And then some say, hey, my mama played this all the time. Will tell you more about it than you learned when you first learned.
Right. So we realize that the arts are a way of sweetening the medicine.
Right.
Getting the bitter pill to go down about what it means to be just, what it means to be fair, what it means to be equitable, what it means to be brothers and sisters, regardless of how we were raised. And that is what this podcast and this platform is based on.
Dr. Lewis, I'm going to take a brief commercial, but I want you to remain there because I got some questions for you, and they're powerful. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this song from Leeway. That's right, Leeway is in the house tonight with his R&B. You got him?
Christmas, everybody.
Was you in tune to that song just then?
I could not hear it. I was a little upset that I was like, man, we were talking music, and then I was like, how can I not hear this music? I'm a fan, so you're gonna have to make that happen again one day, so I can hear this brother sing.
Well, you can go back. This show will be on YouTube as soon as it's done with it, so you can check him out. He was doing a little bit Louis Armstrong.
Yeah.
No, Nat King Cole. I'm sorry, Nat King Cole.
The Christmas song?
Yes.
Yeah, my favorite.
Amazing. Oh, so Dr. Lewis, I told you a little bit about my life, but I'm just going to go into this part because this is what we're speaking about is drugs now. I explained to you that I was once a drug addict, and I also told you that I had been to prison several times, not counting the jail. But anyway, a lot of us, we have purpose in life. And some of us go through the most hell to say before we find our purpose and what we are called, designed, and anointed to be. So during my younger years, of course, I got on crack cocaine first. I was an intravenous user, shooting coke, teasing blues with towel and parabenzamine. You know what that is, right? Pain pill.
I know what they are, but I didn't know people were doing that, but yeah, I know what they are.
I'm going to give you a little bit on how we did it.
Oh, wow.
And,
wow. Okay.
Yes. See, a doctor learning something new.
Told you, yeah, we're learning.
And from all of that, through my drug addiction and whatnot, and I would come to find myself in prison, more or less knowing that I had skills, talents, gift, and purpose. And it's taken me to go so many times, 9 times. And I would tell people, and I'm not ashamed of what I've been through because God is working. And I would tell people, I said, during my time of incarceration, I was being reserved and preserved for my calling. But in order to become who God want me to be, I had to go to school, which you say back and forth, ended up getting in trouble. But yet he kept the blood of Jesus over me because he had purpose for me like he did Joseph.
Right.
If you get what I'm saying.
Oh, I get what you're saying. And I know exactly what you're saying.
And I have experienced some of that, what Joseph experienced through family and other things. But as a kid, I was always in the church, so I knew there was a God. And one thing I was taught is to forgive. And that is my main thing. I'm very big on that. I don't care how bad you did me, what you've done to me. I'm going to forgive you because the Bible says, St. Mark 11:24, when you stand praying, if you have aught against any, forgive as your Father in heaven will forgive you your trespasses. For if you don't forgive, your Father can't forgive you. So therefore, that means you can't go to heaven.
Right.
Because that's the commandment.
Right.
Your slate has to be clean. We can't get before God when you get to ask you. None of that. You had chance after chance after chance, time after time to get it right. But anyway, when I was a drug addict, we did illegal things. Was taking things not at my expense. And I never take from people that pretty much was around me. I never did that. But at the end of the day, I was still taking.
Right.
And now you can't even pay me to even have that thought in the store, But this show is called Taking Back My Life. And we're going to get into that in a few minutes. But I want to take you back to the tower and the parabenzamine that we used to intervene in the arms. There was a little blue pill, and there was a little yellow pill, and some may have been orange. We would take and the purple, and we'd take the purple kind because it had this little coat over it, shave it off, and take that and combine it with the parabenzamine and crush it up. We would get a menthol cigarette, and we had to take the filter off, and we take and put it inside a little cup or whatever we put it in because it was a certain amount, and we'll sprinkle water on it, and take the syringe and pull up to certain millimeters, and we would call give me a 2, or give me a 5. When the people that ask for the 2, they can't take them higher than that, a bigger dosage. But you got people that have been on it so long, they can take like a 5 or 6 and it blow their head off. But I met some people that I talked with you about that's supposed to have been here And they shared some things with me about some of the addicts that they knew, and help as well. And when we were speaking about love and health care at the hospital, this lady, Miss Mira, she was telling me about one of the females that she helped. And she had got raped, beaten, messed her mouth up, and all of this here, she had wire. So the young lady hadn't eaten in 8 days. So she goes to the ER. And because she was an addict, they mistreated her, you know, and the girl, she went to try to tear the wires out of her mouth herself. I think I have a clip of that that young lady, CC, and with the young lady who had the wire in her mouth from Sherry. And so anyways, they mistreated her, the ER staff. So now, we're talking about love and care and what we're there for. How would you, as a doctor, which I know better, but I want other people to hear too, because like they say, all police are bad, all police are not bad.
Right.
We have good doctors, we don't have good doctors.
Right, absolutely.
Being as a physician, ER physician, Clark, you do the intake. You take them and send them to wherever they need to go if you don't send them home. But just to say a drug addict come in belligerent, we might not know if she's on drug, we don't know if she's schizophrenic or whatever, but because she's wild and out and acting erratic, as that physician, how would you treat that patient?
Sure. So the first and foremost is that physician or non-physician is a lesson that we learn that we must treat each other as we want to be treated, regardless of what your title, regardless of what your profession is. If you enter into any type of relationship, temporary, professional, romantic, whatever, in that form, you have already met the standard. You know, do unto others as you'll have them to do unto you. As a physician, though, where we're trained to recognize, and especially as an emergency physician, the vulnerability in people who come into us in dire need. As I mentioned to you before, the idea of emergency is a little nebulous. It is not exact, but the idea that a person perceives they have an emergency is enough for you to treat them as if they do, period. So that person comes in, and we see this. This is a day of the park. This is what we see all the time. People who are incapacitated emotionally, mentally, to the degree they're not behaving in a way that probably even they will recognize their behavior due to mental health disorders or behavioral health disorders or substance use disorders. We used to call it drug addiction. We've elevated the conversation now. And very often the overlap of those things. Normally people are addicted to substances because they're trying to medicate their mental health, their physical health, and their spiritual health.
I'm glad you're saying that because that is one of my questions. Continue on.
Yeah, so when you come into that with that knowledge, and that's what I'm saying, there has to be first that idea, I want to treat this person like I want to be treated. But then secondarily, I have a knowledge that this person is now attempting to medicate something that is broken or not well in themselves at that time. And it could be any of those three paradigms that I built: mentally, physically, or spiritually. They all interact with each other. They don't happen in isolation, right? So if you cut somebody's leg off and you see how their emotions change.
It's not going to be cute. It ain't going to be a pretty picture.
Right, it's not. You know, and hurt somebody enough emotionally, you will watch them neglect their own physical body. You will see them lose value. So when I see people like that, I try to visualize them from that perspective. Now, that is not something that I was taught early in medicine. It is an evolution.
Right.
It is a opening of my eyes over the years. You talk about how God calls us to places to learn, takes us back to school, and able to see where they suffer, where my sufferings have been common. It may not be as severe, but I've got to be able to empathize that, hey, look, you know, this person is having a bad day. This person's had a bad month, a bad year. So when people say, can you get me a towel? Can you get me a pillow? Can you get me something to eat or drink? That's for you right there.
Simple stuff to
Simple
make
stuff.
you more at least a little bit more comfortable, and that you care.
You are providing. Yeah, you're providing. The scriptures say, I'm a man of faith. I'm not ashamed to say that, to be a scientist and physician, a man of faith. They said, when have we seen you hungry? When have we seen you in jail? When have we seen you in need? He said, to the least of these, you've done to me also. So if I am a man of faith, I must minister as well as administer medicine more than one realm. Right. I must speak to that person's physical body. I must speak to their mental state. I must speak to their spiritual state. So that's how I see my patients. That's just my personal walk. And that's an evolution. That is something that I have not perfected. That every day I got to fine tune that a little bit, because I'm human too. And
that's what's
I fall short all the time. So that's your answer on that.
That scripture that you just quoted, I say is that pretty much daily to people. Because I see certain people this way, that way. I don't care how good we may look. I've seen so many people, Dr. Lewis, dressed as good as we can and was homeless.
Yes.
And by you saying what you said, Matthew 25 and 40 is that scripture.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it when you dial it up. I love it.
Matthew 25 and 40 is that scripture. And that scripture means that if a person or a stranger come to you, a crack addict. You understand what I'm saying? An alcoholic.
Absolutely.
And they ask you for a dollar. Now, if we spiritual, if we are children of God, we already spiritually inclined, right, and have discernment.
Right.
But some that have that discernment, because like we was talking about earlier, how a patient being mistreated, and they would look at that person differently from them and say, no, can have thousands of dollars in their pocket.
Right.
You could see somebody come knock on your door and say, give them a piece of bread, and you got 4 or 5 loaves in there, and you would not give that person a piece of bread. And if another person comes and say, can you please give me a glass of water, I'm thirsty? And you see the sweat and the disfigurement, and you turn them down. The word of God said, to the least of those you do it, like you just stated. You do it unto me. So what you're doing, you're turning Jesus down. And where can your reward come from?
So that is why you asked me earlier, that's why emergency medicine was a mission field for me, because it gave me the opportunity to practice that in my walk. Mm-hmm. Not just in my profession of mouth, but every day I would have people that I otherwise could conveniently avoid in all my travels had I not chosen another profession. But here I am now, where I have to see the leper. I have to see the issue of blood. I have to see the boy who's. You understand what I'm saying?
I can attest to that.
So that is the calling that I realized. And it is the calling why I came back actually to Atlanta to teach my resident physicians the same thing, because I realized there's a disconnect between what we read in the textbook and what happens in real life. And we need to put those two together so we can be, the greatest benefit to our communities we serve.
Okay, are you more generalized in practice, Dr. Lewis?
So emergency medicine is a specialty and became a specialty in 1971. The University of Cincinnati graduated as first class. It is one by which we had to do 3 to 4 years after medical school to train in basically all the medical emergencies and amongst all the other specialties. So if there's a gynecological, if there's an obstetric emergency, say a baby's being born breech and there's no OBGYN there, I'm the one who has to deliver it. If there's a gunshot, if it's a person who comes in with meningitis, I have to be the one who knows how to stick the needle in the person's back. So it is a specialty. It is not a generalist, it's a broad specialty, but only when it comes to life-threatening emergencies.
When someone come in, like we said, we have schizophrenics, we have people that are addicted, we have people that's alcoholic. Can you differentiate the difference of those when they come into the ER to automatically know how to assess that?
You know what? So that's a brilliant question. Let's say this. I will say that we are trained, but more training is needed. I think 70% of medicine is not an exact science. You know, you could almost not call it a science compared to some other things. What was true today may be malpractice tomorrow. And I'm just being honest with you. They're like, yeah, we used to tie, leather straps around everybody and bleed them to death. They're like, that's crazy. And then 20 years in line, like, oh no, we still do that, but it's for this indication. So with that, mental health disorders, or what we now call behavioral health disorders, are a burgeoning field, meaning that we are now just getting to the maturation of psychiatry, where we know that there's a mental and physical overlay. That being said, we are good at doing some, we are not good in differentiating all. So if I see a person, sometimes I can't tell if they're intoxicated or if this is a mental health crisis or a combination of both. So we have labs and studies and the tincture of time, which means we observe them for periods of time. We bring other people in, because the hallmark of truth is reproducibility over time. If you can look at something and it gives you the same answer over and over and over and over again, it's probably the truth. And that sometimes we don't get to that quick. It takes a little bit of time. That's why it takes a while when you come to the hospital.
Well, and trust me, but thank God I didn't take that long with you, because I was praying.
Hey, brother, that's because of all the years I had served before I met you. Okay, so that it took time. It just wasn't on your bill.
It's just like they say, smooth sailing. You just went with you rolled with the play.
And you're a good historian. Can I say this? So let's talk about health advocacy. If you know how to advocate for yourself, and you know how to speak the language, and you do that in a fashion by which those who are caring for you get what you're saying, you don't need $1 million workup. You don't need a whole lot of time. You get the answers quickly. We can walk into a room, a person tells us the right story, we're like, bam, that's it. I know exactly what they have. No matter how complicated the case may seem, you can go in there and have something simple and be all over the map. You don't know what. I was like, when did this start? At my cousin's birthday. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I wasn't there. That doesn't give me any point in reference in time. It was like, well, my friend knows. That doesn't help me either. So being an advocate for yourself makes it easy, makes that journey so much smoother. And you're a fantastic advocate for yourself.
I appreciate Dr. Lewis. We got to take a quick break right quick, and we're going to get right back with you.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, happy hop holidays from Around the Table with Rabbit. It's your girl Cece. Y'all know who I am. I'm just here to give some holiday cheer and say a very special welcome to our guests, our families, our friends, our foes. Without you all, we wouldn't even be here. So we want to say thank you. We love you. And I hope everyone stays warm this holiday season. Give the gift of cheer, give the gift of joy, give the gift of love this year. There's a lot going on out here, and we just need to stay encouraged. We need to stay keeping our heads up. There's a lot more good that's here to come. So stay tuned with Around the Table with Rabbit. Thank you for tuning in. We hope that you continue to tune in and tell your family, your friends, and your loved ones that we're here to offer care, prayer, and resources to those who may need some life resuscitation. So, once again, happy holidays. We love you all. Stay warm and stay blessed. Hop, hop, in that order.
Once again, everybody, I have my R&B artist here, Mr. Leeway. He finna bring you, who you about to sing now?
I'm about to sing my song.
Who's that?
That's called Back in My Life.
And who's that by?
That's by me.
Oh, he got his own original, so here we coming with you. Mr. Leeway, give it up.
Yeah. Oh, I miss how I turned my well dry. Wish I still had you by my side. Girl, how you left me, it ain't right. You too damn good at your goodbyes. Yeah, it's hard for me to get you off my mind, baby. Always thinking about the way that you love. If I could go back, I would press rewind. Yeah. You got me caught up, I couldn't get enough. You you should take me back. I really miss you. You seem unbothered. Too many issues. Don't think I can make it through the road. I need you here. I can't live without your love. Hey. Oh no, 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 no. I try, but I can't let go. See, girl, I'm in so much pain because I did you that way. Ooh, all the things we've been through ain't no lie. Please forgive me, won't you give it a try? Been through so much to throw it away, babe. Because girl, I need you back in my life. Before we had no drama, had no issues. Through the burning sun, you were my summer rain. When I would cry, you would be my tissue. My tissue, wipe all my tears away. Now you're the reason for all the tears I've cried. So much confusion, can't even tell me why. Was it really worth all you losing? Better off losing you. Ain't gonna cry no more way out of my heart. Yeah. Oh no, 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 no. You done tried it, so I had to let you go. And you done took me through so much pain. So to the left, I gotta see you go that way. Ooh, all the things we've been through ain't no lie. Please forgive me, won't you give it a try, babe? Been through so much to throw it away, yeah. Cause girl, I need you back in mine. See, my life ain't the same without you, babe. I know at times I realize I drove you crazy. Go back, all the way back to love, yeah. I know in time it's gonna be alright to love another day, yeah. I know I made you wanna leave, but it took me some time to realize it was you that was part of me. I don't know what it is, baby, but I need you, and I love you. I really want you, I just want to say thank y'all for this platform. That's right.
Welcome back, Dr. Hall. Dr. Hall, welcome again.
Lewis.
I mean, Dr. Lewis must be, he's a physician too. And
Dr. Hall?
He's an old man, yes, and we kind of looked at and hung out, you know, at a celebration we were doing. And he must be thinking about me, I guess they say when you call somebody
Yeah, you called him up.
Yeah, but anyways, I so much appreciate you for coming on to my show. And you really gave a lot. And you gave much more of yourself than you give in words, if you know what I mean. And
yeah, thank you, brother.
And I do appreciate you for even considering. And hopefully that we can get together and make some things happen.
You could plan on it, okay? We're going to go ahead and put that in the spirit in the air, okay?
Why not? And do what God say do. So I would like to thank everybody that tuned in tonight to Around the Table with Rabbit, and also my special guest, Dr. John Edward Lewis, E.R. EM remix. I got the ER and EM kind of combobulated. But thank you once again, and I hope to hear from you soon, Dr. Hall. Dr. Lewis, you're going to get me behind that, I know.
You're good. You're good people. Happy holidays, everyone.
As well. Thank you. I keep popping out my jacket. My music?
Yeah. Where you at? Rabbit. Let's go. Get ready, you rabbit, come. 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 It doesn't matter what you're going through. Leave your problems around the table. Real
Now, in that order.